Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of the Epic 7, and today we're actually just gonna do a little bit of a gear review. I was gonna do RTA, still not quite feeling too great, so I'm gonna wait on that. But we redid a bunch of gear yesterday. Specifically, I wanted to get two one-shot hunt groups working. One is working great, the other is kinda iffy, but can be improved with skill ups. And next up was Guild War Defense, and then just a couple people I really wanted to use, and then from there I just have people unequipped. So I hardcore rage sold a bunch of stuff. I sold, like, I know this is what I like, not what I was supposed to do, but I sold like 100 plus 15 pieces of gear, I swear. Maybe not 100, maybe like 50, but I was just so tired of having them in my bags and never using them, and I was just so tired of it, so I just rage sold them. Which allowed me to keep stuff in my bag so I don't have to equip stuff on my units, and it's not this never-ending cycle of like pain and suffering, you know? Anyways, let's take a look at my gear here and go through some other characters I want to build and why. So first off, we have obviously Arby. We had to I don't know what that sound was, sorry. We had to gear Arby. He's too good not to. These are his stats right now. Pretty happy with him. I think he's got enough damage. Unfortunately, one of the big problems here is one of the other units I want to use. You can see on this list that I finally Molagora'd. Wants the Alexas, right? And I kind of need Alexas here, but I know what Arby does, right? I want to have fun with T-Surns. So T-Surns is going to be the one with my Alexas. I only have one, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the gear here, and if you want to see any gear specifically, just hit the pause button. This is like, it's pretty hard to get extra stats out of this, right? Like, pretty much everything is good. The only piece we have would be effectiveness for flat attack here, but I'm out of flat attack things. Everything else is pretty much perfectly itemized, and there is effectiveness here, but I think effectiveness is actually the best stat for a substat here because, you know, that decreased hit chance, it's something, right? And you don't need the HP, you don't really need the defense. Probably better, but who knows? It's not worth switching, basically, is what I'm trying to say. We then have SSB. The SSB is built just for Wyvern, and that is it. I don't really use her anywhere else anymore. But yeah, a bit of effectiveness. I would like to increase this a little bit. I don't think it matters actually, but I wouldn't mind increasing it. We then have Araminta, who is just a glass cannon, who I'm not even sure is going to be a cannon, but this is what we did with her. I wasn't sure who to put this on. I would rather focus on attack for burns, but I just couldn't get a set that worked. So this is what she's sitting on right now. And the Remnant Violet is kind of in the same position. I didn't make him too great. He'll probably have Moonlight Dreamblade on. He's got 13k HP. He's still gonna die. Need a little bit more defense and HP here, and a little bit of DPS, a little bit of tankiness. I just plan to use him on Guild War offense. We then have Vivian, who is 100% just here for a one-shot team, nothing else. 86 crit chance is all you need. Obviously 85 actually, so that's pretty sweet. We then have our T-Surin. I just mullered her. We're missing 2 in the middle, but I feel like that's the least important. And I will get another from 10 Friendship eventually. And I'm out of Molagora, so that's the best I could do. Her gear, I don't know what T-Surins look like. I mean, I'm pretty happy with this gear, right? Like, you can't, there's no better stats than that, I think. There's no better stats than these. Maybe a little bit higher rolls on the crit damage. No, I think that could be like 5% maybe. This one, it just crit damage, crit chance. Obviously we could use some speed here, but I didn't want to actually, what happened here, let's actually show this. I wasn't sure what to do. I have a speed thing here and I can get 2 to 4 speed, but for T-Surin I feel like I want this, right? But for everybody else I probably want this, so I just decided not to do it because I felt like 2 to 4 speed wasn't going to make or break the gear for her. We then have this as well. I don't know if she uses defense too much. Like, I don't think, like, do defenses matter whatsoever on her? Either way, we got a 4 to 8% attack, and we got 4. That was pretty upsetting. The ring here, again, we could change a couple things, but I think I'm missing. Like, we can do crit chance here to bring her up to 100%. Which is probably what I should do. But I feel like everybody else that uses this ring is going to want the HP. So, like, I don't want to change that. It's not like her end gear, basically. And her booty's looking pretty good, too. We then have Landy. I actually originally remade the Landy from 260 speed down to destruction set that I usually do. And then I thought, no, I really want to use her on defense. I want to use her a little bit more in RTA, right? Like, it feels wrong not to have her built like this when a lot of other people can kind of do her cleaving job. So yeah, a little bit sad that I'm not going on the destruction set. I'm not sure on this gear either. I was having a little bit of trouble just making it work. We just have like weird gear, right? Like overall pretty good. I guess with Landy you really just want stats, right? Like it doesn't really matter what stat you get as long as it's not ER and effectiveness. You just want any of the stats. So I just kind of tried to get as itemized pieces as I can, right? And getting like 24% crit rate on one piece is pretty good, I think. Especially with 2 defensive options. No speed on this as well, but we can get speed elsewhere if you're getting 24% crit on one piece. And then her boots here, I pretty much was stuck using these boots. Not that they're bad by any stretch, but I basically just, like, I needed the defense, right? Without these boots, her defense was just like not, oh, our free equipment's gone. Was just not up to snuff, and she was just gonna die. We then have Silverblade Araminta here. I wanted to make sure both eras were built and a couple more people, which we'll get to in a second. But she's built to... Maybe this isn't enough effectiveness on her. Maybe I can use an effectiveness ring. But this is pretty hard to beat. But either way, she's built to go after, like, a disruptor. And then she's going to go, and then regular era is going to go. Like, that's the plan. I don't know how viable it is now with how many counter and hit chance stuff is there, and that's why we have a symbol of unity. I wanted to make sure she wouldn't just get demolished by Moonlight Dreamblade. So pretty decent gear overall. I don't want any crit or crit damage on her, but I mean, I wanted the attack, and I didn't really want to, like, I guess I could do this and go to 44 to 58, right? Like, that would be better. Yeah, there's no way that's not better. So let's just do that. 55, sweet. So that brings her attack up to 4,041 here. Would love some more imprints as well. I think I've only summoned one Araminta. And then we have Sigrid here. Sigrid is just for Wyvern 13. One shot, and my idea behind my teams here was just to give them essentially the minimum I needed to get one shots consistently. Unfortunately, that means using this instead of on somebody else, but I can eventually tweak this and take away gear pieces from her one by one, just so that my one shot works, right? We then have Politis, and I wasn't sure how to build her. When I was fighting against Politises in like 5,000 arena or so, I was generally fighting them. They all had immunity. They all had, it felt like they had ER. I'm not sure if they actually did have ER, but it really did feel like they had it. So I'm not sure on that, but I decided just to go a little bit of damage here and a little bit of everything, right? Like, we have a bit of ER. Actually, we really don't. We have a bit of effectiveness. We have some speed. We have defense, quite a bit amount of defense here. Pretty low HP, but I wasn't sure. I'm also not sure on her artifact here. That's another thing. I would rather, not rather, but having Abyssal on Silverblade might be pretty sweet too. We then have Senya. I didn't change Senya at all. I'm really happy with my Senya's gear. She's glorious, honestly. Perhaps a couple things could change, right? Like, we have 10% crit on our helm, so like obviously we can get some improvements here. Like, if we were to do this and go to defense percent or speed, it'd be way better, but I feel like that's not the way to go on this piece of gear, right? Like, the way to go on this piece of gear is change this for crit damage, probably. Yeah, so she doesn't actually have the best gear, but it just works really well. A little bit of stats everywhere, and again, not the best pieces here. This is something I probably could have changed. I don't feel like 90ing this, but I could probably change this for sure. And the boots, same thing here. Like, we don't really need this crit damage and crit rate, but we sure as heck want that 40% attack. So, yeah. We then have Carrot. I actually did touch Carrot a little bit, but it was for a couple stat changes. Her gear itself stayed the same, but we changed a couple things, I think. Did we? Yeah, we changed this from effect resistance, I think, to attack. And we got some defense here as well. And this piece I wasn't sure what to do, because we can change this stat here, the health, to like defense percent. No, to HP percent, right? But I don't have any yet, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. And I didn't want to replace like this with the white piece. And yeah, she's pretty nuts. I'm really happy with her. We also geared Lilibet, just because I felt like she's still friendship 3, and I paid a lot of money for Lilibet, right? So I feel like I should be using her. So I gave her some gear. I wasn't sure how to gear her, but I wanted her tanky enough to survive, a bit of attack, because it does help, bit of crit damage, bit of everything here. So yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do. We also built Ravi. I really like Ravi, and I think I have some decent pieces of gear for her. Obviously, her defense is way too low here, but hey, it's fine. I'll figure it out as we go, just to see if I can like make use of her. Flat HP ring here on a Ravi. Probably not the best idea, but hey. And this is probably my second favorite geared unit. This is my Cerise. My fastest I can get is 292. If you're wondering how fast I can get my gear, 292 is literally as fast as I can get. But I decided to go with the hit set here and take her speed down like 3 points or so. And by doing this, I allowed somebody else to be really fast. And I got her stats up. So the reason why I'm really happy with this is because 15.5 KHP, 1100 defense is really nuts for 288 speed, I feel like. Especially when you're rocking 157 effectiveness as well. I am really, really proud of this. And I use her so much, and just like the defenses on her are so worthwhile, right? And like I could change this to like defense percent as well if I wanted to. There's a bunch of stuff I could change still, but I'm just not sure yet. But yeah, as for the Baiken, same thing as the cigarette. Minimum I kind of needed for a one-shot. As you can see here, I don't have fully upgraded gear. It just doesn't matter though. She does enough damage. We then have Solitaria of the Snow. I wasn't sure on this one either. I wanted her tanky enough, and I couldn't get her really tanky and fast like Cerise. So I put her a little bit slower just to get enough survivability here. Decent amount of effectiveness. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with her. I think she'll work because she's got a lot of like semi-leftover gear. 53% crit. We then have Etta as well. Etta is one I wanted to make sure she was geared up. I kind of want her on a different artifact, but they're all taken right now. Pretty happy with her gear as well. I would love to get her defense up a little bit, but she's on a pretty decent gear here, except for the neck. The neck is not really doing much for her, so this is something I have to change. But I don't really have any speed necks with defensive stats. They all have crit rate, crit damage, and stuff like that. Like, I'll show you some of my crit rate, crit damage ones. So we have Ilyanev here. I didn't change her, I think. Actually, I did change her very slightly. I don't know what I changed, but I made her a little bit more damagey and a little less tanky. Not sure if that was a good idea, but I'm really enjoying her, and we'll see. I also geared Cowrick, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Here's the gear. We also made Chloe the same, but we gave her Water's Origin. The big problem with her is she died to like a 1-2 punch. So I wanted to make sure that she didn't die to a 1-2 punch with Water's Origin here. And also, I need the Warhorn on my Flan for a one-shot team, so I had to take that offer. We then geared the FCC here. she could use a little bit better gear. Like, this is pretty solid. This is not. This is what I need to change, but I don't have much better. We've got speed and everything here. We've got 21 crit damage on this piece. Like, do I just... Like, I wasn't sure what to do. Do I just change this to, like, flat HP or effectiveness? I don't even know. It just feels so bad. And I have a ton of pieces just like this, but it had the defense and I needed the defense, right? And it was actually, like, the fastest as well. And same kind of thing here. Pretty decent piece. Yeah, and this one as well. Looking decent. We built our Rowana as well. We built her counter. I'm not super happy with this set. I would like to lower her speed a little bit and get her defenses up. But I didn't really have much better than this. I mean, I guess I think I have, I don't know if it's defense set, but it's defense percent main stat. Yeah, I have something like this that I can use on her. And this, I feel like this is what I should be using, right? Like, it's pretty hard to beat these defenses. And I don't think she needs the speed. But the problem is I didn't have another counter piece to kind of make up for it. So that's why we didn't do that. As for our DN here, we decided to build her because I wanted to pair her with Senya and maybe some other people. I couldn't really get her stats up to par. Specifically, her defense is too low and her ER is too low. But I couldn't really fix it. Our helms, you can see, are really lacking. Like, this is decent, but you're missing quite a bit of HP there. Same with this one, but the defenses are good enough. This one is great. And this is actually why we had to use a health set instead of an immunity set, because I couldn't get a necklace to fit an immunity set, basically. As for Singelica, she is just for the one-shot team. That's all she's doing. Just toss the gear on her. It really just doesn't matter because she does what she needs to do. Tamarin, I should have taken this gear off, but I guess it doesn't matter. I tried to take off gear off of everybody I wasn't using right away. We then have Leo for a one-shot team. This is the reason why my one-shot team isn't consistent for Banshee, because I need some friendship on him and I need some levels, although the levels don't matter. Because right now he's only got a 75% chance to decrease defense, which is not enough, but I am not spending molas on him. I'd rather fail. Yeah. It doesn't really matter his stats. And speaking of not really mattering for stats, this is the flan for my one-shot team here. It's something. I needed 145 speed, basically, so it worked out right with my everything. So yeah. That's all my gear right now. And as for other people I want to get geared, let me know what you want to see geared, and I'll tell you what I'm considering gearing right now. So obviously Luluka is somebody I plan to gear out really quickly here. Charlotte is another one I really want to do, but I just don't have the Molagora. Alencia is somebody as well. I feel like having a plus 15 Alencia, I should probably be using her. We're done with Mort, sorry buddy. Lilius is somebody I feel like I need to build for sure. Same with Mui here. Same with Spectenny, but I couldn't get her tanky enough. I wasn't really happy with it. Who else did I really want to build here? Holiday Euphine is somebody I'm going to build as well, just to handle certain Bazaars, you know? Yeah, but let me know if there's anybody else on this list you want to see built, because we have the free equipment right now. We've got... Not free equipment, but we have the equipment not being used. 477 pieces. And there are, like... How many are not being used here? Like, it's kind of insane. And we have a ton of great gear. Like, if we look at my necks, for example. Like, my HP crit damage necks here that aren't being used. Like, we've got 32 crit damage here. We've got crit damage there. We've crit damage... Crit damage. Like, we've got so much stuff like this, and it's just ridiculous, right? Like, we've got so much stuff available, and I think we even have like a ton of like speed offensive gear not being used right now. Like, it's kind of nuts what we have available to use still. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.